You know, something very strange is happening in the world right now. Most people don't see it yet, but if you're paying attention, you can feel it. The people who are waking up, the ones who are starting to see through the game of life, are slowly disappearing. They're not making a big scene about it. They're not shouting on the internet. They're not writing angry essays. They're not trying to convince anyone. They're just quietly stepping back. They're slipping out of the noise and choosing distance over drama, silence over constant talking.
And if you felt this in yourself, if you've wondered why you suddenly can't stand small talk, fake smiles, shallow parties, and endless arguments, then what I'm about to say might actually bring you some peace, because this pulling away is not a mental problem. It isn't you becoming antisocial. It is in fact one of the most natural things that happens when a person truly wakes up. Now, what do I mean when I say waking up? I don't mean reading a couple of spiritual books, liking some deep quotes, or saying, "We are all one," because it sounds nice. I'm talking about that moment when something inside you clicks and the mask falls off the world. You suddenly notice that most people are moving through life like they're half asleep. They're stuck in roles. They say their lines. They wake up, work, scroll, argue, repeat. All of it on autopilot.
And when you are sleeping too, this doesn't bother you at all. You fit right in. You can gossip about nothing for hours and feel fine. You can stress about what others think of you and believe it really matters. You can chase status, likes, money, and praise and call it a good life. But the moment you wake up, even a little, everything changes. It's as if you've walked out of a dark cinema into bright daylight. For a moment, you're blinded. You look around and realize, wait a minute, that was just a movie. It looked real, it felt real, but it was just light on a screen. And now, if you try to go back into that theater and lose yourself in the film again, you can't. You know it's not real anymore. That's what's happening to spiritually awake people right now. They're discovering they can no longer fully join in the collective dream. Not because they think they're better than anyone, not because they are trying to be special or superior, but because their bodies, their minds, their hearts simply can't endure the pretending anymore.
You see, society runs on a kind of quiet agreement, an agreement to pretend. We pretend that the roles we play are our true selves. We pretend that the opinions we repeat are really ours, not something we picked up from headlines or other people. We pretend that all the rushing, stressing, arguing, and competing is leading somewhere very important. And for this play to work, everyone has to stay in character. But when someone wakes up, they stop playing the role properly. They forget their lines. They look directly at what's really going on. They notice that the costume doesn't fit anymore. That's when things get uncomfortable. Because the awakened person sees what lies under the act. They see the fear hidden under the loud confidence. They see the emptiness behind the frantic busyness. They see that most fights are not really about the topic at all. They're about pain people don't know how to face. When one group shouts, "Those people are the problem," the awakened one can see that this is often just a way of avoiding their own unresolved darkness. When someone posts their outrage all over social media, the awakened one senses that this is really unhealed hurt, looking for someone to attack. When society splits itself into us and them, the awakened one sees both sides swinging at shadows instead of looking inward. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it. You can't go back to pretending that it's all wise, serious, and meaningful. You can't keep playing the same blame game. You can't pour your energy into endless judgment and self-righteous anger because you know it's all a way of avoiding ourselves. So, what does a spiritually awake person do? They start to pull away. Not because they hate humanity, not because they think they're too good for everyone, but because staying fully involved would mean constantly betraying what they now know. Every casual chat would require them to pretend they don't see what they see. Many social situations would ask them to put on an owned mask that no longer feels real. Every part of the old life would keep whispering, "Shrink yourself so you can fit back in." Eventually, the soul says, "Enough. Stop lying to yourself. Stop acting. Stop watering down your depth so you don't make others uncomfortable. Go where you can breathe again." Now, I want to make something very clear. This withdrawing is not about running away from life. It's not about avoiding responsibility. It is not some spiritual excuse to hide because things feel difficult. No, it's something different. It's the realization that staying in dense, unconscious environments actually harms your awareness. It drains your energy. It pulls you back into sleep. It's like trying to grow a plant in a dark basement. You can keep it alive for a while, but slowly it bends, weakens, and starts to die. Awake people discover that being around constant unconsciousness doesn't just feel uncomfortable, it actually wears them down. To stay conscious in such spaces, they have to constantly filter other people's projections, hold their center while chaos spins around them, and stay clear while everyone else is foggy and distracted. That takes a huge amount of invisible effort. No one sees that work. No one claps for it. But inside, it's exhausting. After a while, the awakened person realizes, "I'm using all my energy just to not fall back asleep. I'm not growing, I'm only surviving." And so, a choice appears. Do you choose comfort and belonging? Or do you choose truth and clarity? Do you choose to be accepted by everyone by going back to sleep? Or do you choose to stay awake, even if it means standing alone for a while? When a person chooses awareness over approval, that's when the disappearing truly begins. First, they step away from social media. They see how it constantly pushes people into comparison, outrage, jealousy, and distraction. Every swipe is another hook, pulling the mind outward. For someone who is waking up, it feels like forcing your soul to swim through dirty water. So they quietly delete the apps. They stop checking. They stop scrolling. And suddenly, there are hours of free space in their day and a surprising silence inside their mind. Then, they begin leaving certain social circles. Not with big speeches, not with angry breakups. They just stop going. They stop playing the part.
Because they see that many gatherings are really just performances. People showing off their success, their happiness, their strong opinions. Everyone talking, almost no one listening. And they simply cannot fake it anymore. Their real self has come to the surface. And that real self refuses to play a role just to be liked. Next, some relationships start to fall away. Not because love disappears, but because those relationships were built on an older version of them. They were created when they were still asleep.
Now that they've woken up, it feels like speaking two completely different languages. The connection that was once there can't hold because the foundation has changed. Then comes the hardest part for many, their work. Society teaches us to wrap our identity around our job. What do you do becomes who are you. But the awakened person can no longer pretend that their job is who they are. They can't keep acting like certain goals matter when they don't. They can't participate in systems they now see as empty, harmful, or dishonest.
So they start planning a way out. Sometimes slowly, sometimes suddenly. Because staying would mean slowly killing something very precious inside, their own consciousness. Now, here is the surprising part of all this. People imagine that when you pull away from society, you become sad, lonely, and miserable. But for the genuinely awake person, something very different happens. In the beginning, yes, there might be fear and sadness, because they are letting go of what they once knew. But as they sink into their own company, something opens up.
They realize that in many of their old environments, they were lonely with people. Lonely in crowds. Lonely in groups where no one really saw them. There is a big difference between loneliness and aloneness. Loneliness is what you feel when you're surrounded by people who can't meet you, can't understand you, can't see the real you. Aloneness is what you feel when you are finally free to be yourself without performing. When the awakened person disappears from the noise, they don't lose themselves. They finally meet themselves. Not the character they've been showing the world, not the mask they've worn for years, but the living, breathing awareness underneath all of that. And this does not feel empty. It feels like coming home. In this quiet, they can listen to their own thoughts without 10 other voices drowning them out. They can feel their own emotions without carrying everyone else's pain on top of their own. They can notice what they actually value, what kind of life they actually want, who they actually are. This is what you might call the hermit phase, and it is absolutely necessary. You cannot transform while clinging to every old connection, every old identity, and every old obligation. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by staying out in the open, pretending everything is normal. It withdraws, it dissolves, it changes in a hidden space. In the same way, the awakened person needs a season of retreat, not to escape life, but to digest life, to process the years of pretending, to heal the cuts that came from abandoning themselves to fit in, to build the inner strength to stand in their truth, even if others don't understand. This is not easy work. In fact, it is much harder than staying asleep. Because when you're awake, you can no longer put all the blame on the world. You can't just point fingers and say, they are the problem. You can't numb yourself forever with busyness, entertainment, or drama. You have to sit with your own fear, your own sadness, your own wounds and contradictions. And no one can do this inner work for you. You have to walk through it yourself. But here's the beautiful thing. Once you've walked through that fire, once you've faced your shadow and met your real self, something changes forever. You are no longer begging for other people to tell you who you are. You are no longer desperate for likes, attention, or approval. You no longer feel that you must belong to the crowd in order to be safe. You've discovered something far more solid, your own presence. And from this place, if you decide to return to the world, you come back differently. You don't return to play the same game. You don't come back to drown in the noise. You come back as what I like to call a border dweller, someone who stands between the sleeping world and the waking world. You live in both, but you're not fully owned by either. You can walk in the city without becoming lost in its madness. You can talk to people without absorbing all their projections. You can listen without getting tangled. You might help individuals who are beginning to wake up, You might create art, videos, words, or spaces that speak to something deeper. You might simply live your life so honestly and calmly that people around you start to wonder, is there another way to live? But you never truly go back to your old self. You can't. Once you've tasted real awareness, you cannot go back to sleep. Once you've felt authenticity, pretending becomes painful. Once you've seen through the game, you can't fully believe in it again.
Now, some people will say, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't we stay in the system and try to fix it? Shouldn't we keep engaging and wake everyone else up? But here is the truth. You cannot give what you don't genuinely have. If you haven't done your own inner work, if you haven't faced your own darkness, if you haven't really awakened, then your attempts to save others will just spread more confusion. You'll end up preaching instead of embodying. You'll talk about light while still running from your own shadow. You'll sound spiritual while still acting from fear.
The most loving thing you can do for the world is to actually wake up yourself, to do the real work, to become stable in your own consciousness, and then, from that grounded place, quietly be available to those who are truly ready. Because most people are not ready, and that's okay. Most people want to keep dreaming their dream for a while longer. They want their roles, their dramas, their games. That is their right. Your duty is not to drag them out of sleep. Your duty is to stay true to your own awakening. This is why spiritually awake people are disappearing. They are going to the places where they can be genuine, where they can breathe deeply, where they don't have to explain themselves all the time or shrink to make others comfortable. They are finding each other in small circles, in quiet rooms, in simple lives. They're building little pockets of truth in the middle of a world that's still pretending. This is not abandonment, it is preparation. Because the world does not need more people acting out the old unconscious patterns. It needs people who have actually done the hard inner work. It needs living examples of another way to exist. So, if you feel the urge to disappear a little, if normal life is becoming harder to bear, if the games, the noise and the performances are starting to feel empty, listen to that signal. That is your soul calling you back to yourself. That is your consciousness asking for space to grow.
Don't fight it. Don't shame yourself for it. Don't try to force yourself into environments that drain you. Give yourself permission to step back, to be with yourself, to be quiet for a season. It won't last forever. You will come back when you're ready, but you'll return as someone new, someone whole, someone authentic, someone who can share real presence instead of playing yet another role. Until then, use your solitude wisely. Face your shadow. Heal your heart. Strengthen your awareness. Because this is what the world truly needs. Not more people pretending to be awake, but people who have really, honestly, painfully, beautifully awakened. The spiritually awake are disappearing because they have to. Because consciousness cannot fully bloom in places that constantly deny it. Because truth cannot grow strong while surrounded by lies. Because authenticity cannot survive if it has to keep wearing a mask. So if you are one of these people, let yourself go. Pull back without guilt. Be alone without feeling wrong. Trust the ancient pattern you're following. The caterpillar must fall apart in the cocoon before it can fly. The seed must crack open in the dark soil before it becomes a tree. And the awakened person must step away from the old world before they can truly bring something new into it. This is not the end, it is the beginning of a deeper kind of consciousness that the world will one day be very grateful for, even if for now it doesn't understand why you had to disappear.